Hi everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk and thank you very much for joining me today. This is the card that I've been making today, and actually I have been revisiting a style of card that I made back in the summer, and I think I called it then a twist and pop out card, because when you open it, it does that. Now this style of card has become very popular, and I like to think that I was one of the early adopters out there, but since I made my first one, I've learned a few things. I've learned how to make it a bit better, so if you stay with me, I will show you how I made this particular card. These are the things that I'm going to be using today. I've got my card base, which is So Saffron, and I've cut it to 4 inches by 11 1/8, and I've got another piece of So Saffron which is 2 inches by 4 inches. I've got some bits of Pool Party. This piece is 2.5 inches by 8 inches, and this is just a little offcut. I have some early espresso and a bit of Very Vanilla, which I'm going to be stamping on. I've been using the Cupcakes and Carousels DSP, so this bit is going to be my front panel, and it is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. These little pieces are going to go on the inside, and they are 1 3/4 by 2 1/4. These panels are 3 3/4 square. There are 2 of them. This is an offcut piece which I'm going to be using. I'm going to be making use of the Lift Me Up stamps, and I think it's Carried Away is the name of the companion dies. No, it's Up and Away is the die set. It's the one with all the balloons. I'm going to be using my watercolour pencils, and the inks that I'm going to be using Early Espresso, So Saffron and Soft Sky. I'm going to begin by doing all of my scoring and folding. So I'm going to start with the card base, and I'm going to score at 5.5 inches, and I'm going to turn it round, and I'm going to score again at 5.5 inches. And now that gives me a card with a bit of a spine at the back. Can you see? And that will allow room for all of the extra bits that are going to go on the inside. Okay. My Pool Party piece, I'm sorry, Soft Sky, it's not Pool Party at all. I'm going to score at 2 inches, 4 inches and 6 inches, and then I'm going to concertina it so that it folds up just like that. Now this little piece is what makes the magic happen. Now the first time I made one of these cards back in the summer, I followed a tutorial that I found online. It was by a gentleman called Kevin Devine. It was absolutely brilliant, really clear, really easy to follow, and if you want to see Kevin's original, I'll put a link underneath this video here. But since then I've done a bit of research, and I acquired a copy of this book. Now this is a perfectly brilliant book. It's called Pop Up, A Manual of Paper Mechanisms. It's by a gentleman named Duncan Birmingham. Duncan has a YouTube channel called the Pop Up channel, and if you are interested in pop-up, in pop-up mechanisms, hop on over there, go and have a look what he's up to, because he explains things really clearly. Now I found in this book, I found instructions for this. It's called the double 45-degree fold, and it actually uses a lot less card, and it's a lot easier to do than the way I did it back in the summer, because to do that one you needed 2 full sheets of A4 card, which made a fantastic mechanism, but do you know what, it's not cheap. So I am following Duncan's mechanism. I've also seen other people do something similar with this. So I'm going to begin by scoring at 1 inch and 3 inches. Oh, actually I'm at 2 inches. Okay, so I've got 3 folds along there. Okay, and I'm going to turn it the other way, and I'm going to score at 1 inch. Okay, move the scoreboard out of the way, and I'm going to bring in a silicone mat and a ruler. Okay, so now I'm going to join the scoring at that corner and that corner, and I'm going to just score between those two corners. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to do the same at the other side. Now it is important that your scoring goes through the centre there, and the light isn't particularly good this afternoon. We've had some horrible storms here in the UK, and it's not as bad as it has been, but it's turned nasty out there. Okay, so now I have folds going that way, and I have another one going that way, and I want to fold that piece, and I want to fold along that piece. Now these two folds here aren't strictly necessary. You could get away with just marking, but having them in place doesn't actually hurt, so I thought I would just put them in. But it's up to you. You could just put a little, you know, you could just mark at the 1 inch point if you wanted to, and it will work just as well. All my folds are in place. I've burnished them really well, so now I'm going to fold it, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to push in on these long folds here so that it collapses into that sort of shape. I'm just going to get my bone folder and I'm going to squish it down, and I'm going to make a couple of cuts. I'm going to snip off the top. Now that's not absolutely necessary for it to work, but what it does, it reduces some of the bulk, and the same thing on these corners here, just trimming them in a little bit. All right, and that just makes it easier for these pieces not to show when you've actually got the mechanism in place. I'm going to do some stamping next, and I'm going to use my stamp press because I want to stamp directly onto this piece of DSP, and I want to make sure that I get it centered and where I want it to be, and that I don't make a mess of it. Now these things, they aren't the cheapest things in the world, I'll have to say. This is a Misty. It was one of the first to the market, and it was quite pricey. I had a good sales month one month, and that's how I treated myself. They are getting cheaper, less costly, because more companies now are jumping on the bandwagon and offering this kind of product. Stampin' Up don't do one. We're all nagging them. Demonstrators across the world are saying, come on Stampin' Up, do your thing, but they don't do one yet. However, We Are Memory Keepers do one, Ranger do one. Oh, that's better. They are becoming, this kind of thing is becoming more widely available. You can even make one yourself. If you have an IKEA that you can get to, you can make one with a particular kind of picture frame that they do that hinges open at the front. Because basically that is all it is. It's a platform and you know, a frame with a hinge, and you just, you know, fold it over. But there are more coming on to the market. Okay, well, that's reasonably okay. Possibly not the straightest, but you know, what can I say? It's handmade. I'm going to give it another pressing, because this is the advantage of this kind of gadget, is that you know, if your stamp doesn't come out for some reason, you can always go back and you can do it again. Okay, so I'm reasonably happy with that one, and I'm going to do some more stamping. I'm going to stamp a few copies of this stamp and one of that one, and I'm probably going to do a few clouds while I'm at it. So I'm going to get on with that, and I'll come back to you in a little while. While I was stamping, I also stamped up 4 of these and one of those, and I've already die cut and coloured 3 of the small balloons. I just need to finish that one off and to die cut that one out, so I'm going to get on with it. Okay, so let me see, what colour shall we do this one? I think we'll go with the cooler colours again, and this is Bermuda Bay, and I'm just using the watercolour pencils. Not a great deal of science to it. I'm just keeping my pencil fairly flat to the paper and just kind of scribbling over the top here. And I'm going to put in some shading with the old olive. So I want the 4 balloons to be slightly different from one another. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go over to the big shot, and I'm going to cut that out with the die that fits around it. I'll just fetch it in here to show you. So that one will fit around there just like that, and this one will fit around that balloon just like that. And while I'm there, I'm also going to cut this die, this intricate one, out of some early espresso. Now these I'm just going to use my ordinary cutting plates, but for this one I'm going to use the precision base plate. Back from the big shot, and here are all my pieces all ready to be used, but I'm going to do something with this one next, so I'm going to move those over to one side. Now I want to stick this onto this piece of DSP, and I've marked out with a pencil around the outside of the die, just like that. I just went and put some lines all the way around the outside of it, because I'm going to glue this onto this, but I want to do a little piece of shading on it. So I've got the pumpkin pie pencil, and I'm just following the line just quite roughly. It doesn't matter if I go over, because I'm going to be cutting that bit off. And it's just to give it a little bit of shape and dimension. And we'll put that on. And let me see if that shows or not. I could probably do a little bit more. Just giving it a little bit of shape. Blend it with my finger. I've got paper stumps to do things like that. Okay, how's that looking? And just a little bit of Calypso coral on the very, very edge. You see, you don't have to keep to the DSP the way it's given to you. There are no rules. You can do whatever you jolly well like. And actually, I think I'm going to go over the whole thing with so saffron, just to give it more depth and to blend it all together. Okay, right, now I'm reasonably happy with that. Put my pencils away, and I'm going to bring in my liquid glue. Where is it? It's over here, excuse me. Okay, now I'm going to spread this onto the back of my hand. Nice thing about the Tombow dispenser is that it has 2 ends. It's got a broad spreading end, and it's got a fine precision end. And I'm just going to tap that onto the adhesive on the back of my hand. Now I know there are people who use sponges to do this. I can never find one. So there's a kind of a sunburst in the middle of the paper there. I don't know whether you can see it. And the adhesive will just dry on the back of my hand, and I will just peel it off afterwards. Now, don't do that if you've got sensitive skin, but as I have said on more than one occasion, I have hide like a rhinoceros, so I want that sunburst to appear in that panel there. Okay. And I've also got a little scrap of see, if I had a brain I'd be dangerous. It's this end I want. So gluing up this end as well. So I've got a little scrap here of Soft Sky, and I'm just going to glue the basket on there. Now there is a die that will cut that bit out for you perfectly, but as I'm going to be doing some cutting out anyway, I thought that I would just, you know, fussy cut around that. It's not a particularly difficult shape. So now I have my scissors, and I'm going to start cutting away the bits of paper and card that I don't need. So see you in a bit. Let's put this together. To save yourself from a bit of time, I've stuck the panels of DSP down onto my folded card here, and I've already put tear and tape onto the back of this piece, and I'm going to take the backing off the tear and tape on this side, and I'm going to center this. Well, I would if it didn't jump out of my hand. I'm going to center this onto my card base as best I can. That's now glued firmly onto the card base. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to put some tape on just this part of the panel here. Okay. And on that piece of that panel. Okay, so they are diagonally opposite. And now I'm going to bring in my folded panel, and I'm going to, oops, an email. I'm going to take the backing off this piece of tape. I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to press that down. Now the fold is at the top, okay? This top panel here, this is free. That is important. If you do it the other way around, it won't work. Do you wonder how I know that? Okay, so I'm going to turn it over. And ooh, it's coming with me. There we are. Turn it all over, and I'm going to take the backing of that piece of tape. Make sure it stays folded, and I'm going to stick that. That was a little bit fiddly, but I hope that you got the idea. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the backing off this piece of tape, and I'm just going to fold the card closed and press. And there goes my piercing tool. Okay, so if I've done it right, fingers crossed, when I open up the card, it opens out just like that. I just need to decorate the inner panels and the outside now, so I'm going to use these pieces of DSP, and again, because I have my liquid adhesive out, I'm going to use that, but snail would work just fine for this, and I want that kind of opposite corners so that it goes a bit like that, which is fine. And there you go. Right, now my little hot air balloons that I die cut and coloured. I'm going to put these on the insides of these panels here, and I'm going to stagger them a bit so that they're not all on the same level, so that they are flying through the sky here. So now I'm just going to decorate the front, and I'm going to glue this panel down with some of my liquid adhesive. And there you go. And there it is, all finished and ready to be popped into an envelope and sent, in this particular case, to my brother-in-law, because it's his birthday tomorrow. So I've got to get my skates on and make sure that I've photographed this one and sent it into an envelope pretty quickly. That is it for today. Thank you very, very much for joining me. I would love it if you would come back and see me again soon, and if you want to subscribe to my channel or give me a thumbs up or leave me a comment, then please do so. You can do that in the more information box below. It's also a link to my Facebook page and to my blog, and if you hop over to my Facebook page and leave me a photograph showing me what you've been up to, I'd really like to see it. But for now, thank you very, very much for joining me, and I hope that I see you again soon. Bye bye.